I mean, think about it. This seminar is 50 hours over the course of the weekend, 4 days. It's a lot of hours. I can make this so much easier. Let's do an hour a week for a year. We'll get 2 weeks off. It'll be easy. Would we get the same result? Yes or no? No way. So I'll give you an example. My wife and I, and we have an extended family member of mine named Mary, and Mary, the three of us travel together. Mary's my right arm. And so I drag Mary with us too because she's part of our family. We just recently finished A Date with Destiny, which is my most powerful seminar. It's 6 days and nights, and it's an experience of some grads of Date with Destiny. Cool. But it's one of my favorite things to do on earth, but it's not an easy thing on my body, as you might imagine. And it's incredibly fulfilling, but at the end of it, my body is complete toast, as you can imagine. And we were in Australia, in the Gold Coast, and I scheduled already some Aussies here, huh? Nice to see you guys. And I scheduled, because my life was so full, there was only like 1 week I could do this, and so I scheduled to go to this place in Sedona, Arizona, where this man for 39 years has been a neurological expert about how to wire your brain for alpha states, delta states, if you're familiar with those. But alpha is the expertise. And I want to, as great as my life is, I want to take another level. So I have more to give for my family, for my friends, for you, for myself. So we go for 7 days and nights, and this is what it was like. You got up first thing in the morning, 6:30, and you spent an hour and a half getting your brain wired with this glue shit, and they put like 180 of these electrodes on your head. My wife looked so attractive, and so did I. It was amazing. And then, after wiring you up with this goop, which by the way takes forever to get out afterwards, well, there's where we don't see the goop, you see just our hair afterwards. But the bottom line is, we go in, then you go in individual rooms. Like, I want to be with my family, right? I want to be with my wife, I want to be with my family, and I got to go in this dark little room that has no light, and and it's freezing cold. It must be my karma for the shit I do to you people on a regular basis, right? And sure enough, I'm there for 14 hours in this room. You get one break, sometimes two, run the restroom, and the entire time you are learning to think, and how you think, these electrodes create sounds. And you learn how to put yourself in the zone of alpha. But it's a bitch. It's horrible. I wouldn't recommend it to anybody that wants easy experiences, but I'd recommend it to anybody that wants to grow immensely. And by the first day, I'm like, who do I got to shoot to get out of this thing? Oh, it's me. I'm the one that did this. Right? But by the end of the week, all three of us were able to go into this state of alpha. And if you're familiar with alpha, the best way I can describe alpha is there's no problem that can't be solved in alpha. Because every problem that we have was created by us. Destruction of the environment to the pissed offness that you may have. And since we create the problems, any problem a human creates, we can solve. But you can't do it with the same level of thinking that got you there. So there's a science of it, and you can't cheat. This thing measures you. And then you take this frickin' test with 300 questions 3 times a day, the same effing test. And it takes forever. And while you're answering it, these electrodes are seeing what you're doing. And then the guy sits down with you, and it's called sigmas, and he goes, well, this is 2 sigma, this is even, this is 10 sigmas. And the more sigmas is how far you are off from what you wrote, from what was really going on in your nervous system. So it was like, said something to me like that I was demanding. I'm like, what the f? I'm not demanding. What are you talking about? Right? But I guess I was, right? And you learn then how to let go of those old patterns, create new ones. So my point is, I'm doing okay in my life. I'm not exactly hurting. I'm having the most beautiful life I could possibly have, a beautiful mission, a beautiful family, beautiful children, grandchildren, beautiful experience to live in life. And yet I'm not willing to settle for that because I'm here to deliver more for everyone I love, including myself. And so what I do is I schedule it. Because listen to me, when you talk about shit, it's a dream. When you envision it, it's exciting. When you plan it, it's possible. When you schedule it, it's real. When this event became real is when you enrolled yourself. Before that, it was an idea. And there's lots of people who intended to be here, but they never locked it in. So I lock it in advance, because if I hadn't locked it in after Date with Destiny, there's no way I would have got on a plane, flown all the way there, and then put myself in a room for 7 days and nights. But I'm grateful I did. And I only did it because I already locked it in place. So I encourage you, number one, figure out at least twice a year, what are you going to go to that's going to make you grow and expand? How many of you feel like these last couple of days have been some of the most growth you've had in a couple of days here? Say I. Then why settle for this one time? Again, I'm happy to do it with you. I have other programs if you want to come, but you're not limited to me. I don't care where you go. But before you leave here, you should schedule what's next. Do you know why? Because how many were looking forward to this for a long time and very excited about this? I'm curious. How many were quite scared about this? By the way, I'm curious. But here's what's interesting. After you achieve a goal, have you ever done this? Worked your ass off, achieved a goal, and you feel good, and then there's kind of a drop. Because we need something compelling to be going after, so we keep growing.
Nothing fails like success. You're successful, maybe it's in your health, maybe it's in your finances, maybe it's in your career, maybe it's in your family life, maybe it's in the way that you show up in the world. Awesome. You're in a really vulnerable place right now. It is one thing to be successful. It is another thing to sustain success over the coming decades. Is that not a powerful idea? I mean, let's go to the entertainment industry. It's very hard to be a one-hit wonder. Let's not knock a one-hit wonder. But it's even harder to become an iconic rock band or hip-hop band. Let's go to the arts. It is very hard to come up with your Sistine Chapel. Got it. It is even harder to become a Michelangelo. So are you playing the short game or are you playing the long game? This is rule number 2, or lesson number 2 that life has taught me. Play the long game. Aim for legendary. Don't just say, I want to be world class in my dominant pursuit for a little window of time. Say, I want to have the guts and the grit and the acumen and the mindset and the capability and the commitment to create enduring success. And that's why I say nothing fails like success. You look at the restaurant that is hot in your neighborhood right now, they're on the path to obsolescence if they're not really careful. Sure, they went from a little neighborhood shop that made beautiful pasta, that had great service, that had the owner on the floor, shaking your hand, getting to know your name. Then they got written up in the magazines, and then they got interviewed, and then word of mouth spread like wildfire. And what happened? They became arrogant. You see, success can be so toxic. And it happens, it is such a pull on every human being. It just plays with your mind. And you literally shift from humility to arrogance. You shift from humility to arrogance. And once the arrogance sets in a mindset, it starts to populate every other person on the team, every other person in the culture, every other person in the community. And it is a very short fall from success to irrelevance. So lesson number 2 is nothing fails like success. As you become more successful, become more humble. As you become more successful, work even harder. As you become more successful, care even more about your product. As you become more successful, learn even more. I invite you, when you are the titan of your industry, be sitting in the room with 18-year-olds beginning their game. When you are the icon of your field, be the person who is up, not at 5 o'clock anymore. Let's play at 4 o'clock, reading, listening to the podcast, writing in your journals, setting your goals, focusing on your intentions. As you become more successful, be more humble. As you become more successful, be even more punctual. As you become more successful, become even more passionate. As you become older, become even younger. Yesterday, I was walking on the street and I met this man in his 80s. He said, Robin, I finally retired. He's probably close to 90. And he is a legendary clothier in the country that I live in. And he just retired. And he started his shop, which is now an empire, in 1954. So I don't know what that is, but that is decades and decades and decades and decades. And he did not want to retire. He just retired, but he is still on fire to do amazing things. Age is just a number. Do not let an old person into your body. Nothing fails like success.
One way you measure toughness is just look how much people show hurt. Chadwick Boseman, rest in peace, passes away. 4 years has colon cancer, no one knows about it. He goes to the doctor. That means that this doesn't mean he's not taking care of his body. He's going to the doctor, but he doesn't advertise his pain. Sometimes it's just good not to advertise your pain. Sometimes it's good to not just tell the whole world what you're going through. I'm not telling you don't talk about it with a group of people. I'm not telling you have some private conversations with certain people. I do believe in the ability to have some kind of a form of a release. But the way people are doing it right now, posting everything on Instagram, all this other stuff, what's the point behind it? You need attention? Is that what you need? Mental toughness people are not looking for attention. Mental toughness people are trying to get results. A big difference. You know, life is going to test you every freaking day. You could have 1 week, the best week of your life. Next week, something dramatic happens. I don't know why life works this way. It just does. You can have 1 week, everything goes bad. Next week, everything goes good and great. That's how life is. You're getting tested. So sometimes when you're in it and you're going through challenging times, here's what you think. You think in the moment you are the only person that's going through it. It's a problem, by the way. You're going to be tested in your marriage while you're running a career. You're going to be tested with your family, with somebody passing away, while you're chasing your dreams.
Lord, help me make my rent. You keep coming up with it. Has it ever occurred to you that maybe you should ask God for a mortgage? You don't think God got mortgage money? But you know why you don't ask God for the mortgage? Because you keep getting in the way. But you say, well, I don't have a job that dictates I would afford a mortgage. I don't make enough money. I got bad credit. You think God don't know that? He said ask. You think God don't know you need a better job? You block your own blessing because you get in the way of the answer. God don't need you in the way, man. Who you think you talking to? Ain't this the same God that made heaven and earth in 6 days? God do big stuff. Ask God for something big.
See, most people want it easy. See, if you easy come, easy what? Easy go.
I was hoping that circumstances outside would change. And then here's what I found out. It isn't going to change. So then my question was, if it isn't going to change, how will my life ever change? And here's what my teacher taught me. When you change, everything will change for you. When you get better, everything will get better for you. Work harder on yourself than you do on your job. See if you can find some ways to multiply your value to the market. And he said your income will immediately start to change. You don't have to change the economy. You don't have to change countries. You don't have to change circumstances out there. All you've got to do is look within and see if you can change yourself for the better.
When the result of an event has no impact on you, both ways you're blissed out, you are a success. When the fruit of the action does not determine how you are, it's just that you do things because of the exuberance of what you do, then you are a success. The result may depend on variety of things. Results are not always yours. For any result to happen, whether it's in a game or in life situations, there are various factors involved. Not all of it is in our control. But what is in our control is either we did our best or we did not do our best. That's in our control. As long as we're doing that, and whatever the result may be, if you are still blissed out, that means you are a success because life cannot defeat you anymore.
There's so much value and there's so much power in trying just one more time.